Alright, the Philadelphia Eagles just had one of the best night one drafts in NFL history, but it wasn't without a little controversy. Hear what Howie Roseman had to say to the critics of Jalen Carter. And the Birds double-dipped with another Georgia player in the first round who spoke to Carter's character. Plus, Philly picked up a couple very intriguing prospects on night 2. And Jonathan Gannon is back in the news for more terrible reasons. Let's talk about it. But first, let's run it. Hey guys, I'm Josh and I cover the Birds, so make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and turn the notifications on so you're caught up to date on all the latest Eagles news. Can we just talk about the NFL draft? I still can't get over how great of a night one that was. I know, at first we had high hopes about Bijan Robinson landing in Philly, which, if we're being honest, only heightened when we saw his mom donning the midnight green, and then the draft hadn't even started before we received the news from Adam Schefter that the Eagles and Cardinals settled a tampering investigation involving the hiring of former Philadelphia defensive coordinator Jonathan Gannon as Arizona's head coach, per sources, and that the terms were the Eagles trading pick number 94 and a 2024 fifth-round pick to the Cardinals for pick number 66 in the draft. And while that definitely added firepower to Philly's draft board, it's absolutely infuriating. The Eagles are also reportedly furious as well at Jonathan Gannon over the tampering case that indicates he was illegally negotiating a new head coaching job and wasn't all in during the Super Bowl run, per Philly Sport. Gannon was apparently giddy after the Eagles' Super Bowl loss in Phoenix. I'm so happy he's gone. The more that I learn about this guy, the more I can't stand him.
I hate so much about the things that you choose to be.
But back to the draft. So after we learned about the Gannon stupidity, Bryce Young was selected, and then the Texans did this crazy thing selecting CJ Stroud and immediately trading up to take Alabama defensive lineman Will Anderson. And then we were asking the question that Lane Johnson was, who are we taking? Somewhat surprisingly, names like Anthony Richardson, Devin Witherspoon, Paris Johnson Jr., and Tyree Wilson were selected, leaving Bijan and Jalen Carter still available with the Atlanta Falcons on the clock at 8. But Bijan Robinson was taken, therefore dashing our draft 5 hopes.
Oh, sorry, I said a bad word. Oh, shoot.
I'll be honest, I really liked Bijan Robinson, but I never thought Jalen Carter would actually make it out of the top 5. But apparently, teams were scared about some of the off-the-field stuff and character questions. However, it didn't spook the Eagles despite some uncertainty around the league as the Birds traded up with the Chicago Bears and grabbed the Georgia standout. Now, some questions after that were, why did the Eagles trade up if Chicago obviously didn't want to take Carter and they were right behind them? The only plausible answer to that, as I haven't seen an official report so far, is that Chicago must have been getting calls or multiple calls, and so the Eagles were one of those teams kind of bidding to basically select Carter. I don't know. But Jason Kelce was incredibly happy with the pick as he downed a beer in celebration and then went to take a pic with the newly drafted star. Notice Kelce's shirt, "Hungry Dogs Run Faster." Speaking of dogs, former Georgia teammate Jordan Davis tweeted his reaction right after the pick saying, "Owie." And at that very same moment, Albert Breer received a text from most likely a Cowboys assistant coach saying, "Oh, I didn't know I couldn't say that." Well, there were much worse things being said on the Cowboys Reddit page, but they still admitted that there's no question Howie Roseman is the best GM in football, and it's not even close. Trades a broken down backup level quarterback Wentz for a first round pick, trades that number 16 for this year's 10 and Saints 2024 second round, ends up with the best defensive player in the draft, makes me sick. And this after making the Super Bowl. Just not fair. But that wasn't the only Dallas Cowboy who was sick about the pick.
I'm just so sick to my stomach right now. Not only does he have veteran
next to Fletcher Cox,
well,
it's
Fletcher
him and Jordan
Cox.
Davis for like the next 5 years.
That is just, don't y'all just have Nakobe Dean?
Oh yeah, we're just Georgia North.
I just think the Eagles like Georgia, but I'm just sick. I'm just sick to my stomach right now. I'm just sick to my stomach. I can't believe that many teams passed up on me.
I would definitely say, Micah, I know you just be a Philadelphia Eagle at this point. I know you want to be a part of this great organization, man. Come on. He got Fletcher Cox, Hassan Reddick, Jordan Davis, to go along with. Man, the defense is crazy right now.
And then the value
Come
of
on.
it. Hargrave, who just got $85 million, And now you're gonna pay someone for 20. You know, the value. I'm just so shocked. 8 teams let Jalen Carter fall to 9 for this.
Come on, man.
Come on, bro.
Just come on over.
Howie talking for sure. Howie's
has
talking.
a number.
The value of that pick is crazy. You let Javon Hargrave, a 10-plex sack, D tackle, go. You get signed for 85, and you get the value of 20. I mean, that's an A+ pick. I'm sick,
AJ, do it with me.
Look at that reaction. Parsons doesn't hate the Eagles. You can tell, and you know he wants to come to Philly, especially after a pick like that. But not everything is sunshine and rainbows, as it didn't take long for Jalen Carter to start getting criticized after Andrew Brandt tweeted, "I am old enough to remember when Jalen Carter getting arrested in February was going to hurt his draft status in April. LOL. Greater talent equals greater tolerance." But it kind of did, Andrew, as Albert Breer responded saying he was the best player in the draft, went 9th overall. The criticism didn't stop, though, as NBC Sports' Reuben Frank, who was one of the media members on a Zoom call with Jalen Carter after he was drafted, didn't think Jalen Carter was accountable enough about the accident in his post-draft interview. But Howie Roseman was quick to defend his new prospect.
Yeah, I don't think that's fair, Reuben. You just said that. I mean, what do you want him to talk about an active investigation at that time? I mean, at the end of the day, he just got drafted, and you're asking him, you're putting him on the spot on that, and so.
What I'm asking is, what was his? When you talk to him about,
I think it's hard on a Zoom to feel out a person's heart and their accountability.
With you and what he learned from it and how he grew from
I just don't think it's fair how you said that you didn't feel like
You're being overly critical of a kid who's trying to enjoy the best night of his life.
And it didn't take long before Rube started taking heat on Twitter from fans who clearly sided with Howie and the organization as he began to block everyone in sight. Now, Rube did admit he probably could have asked the question a little bit better to Howie, but it's not a great stance in my opinion. And like Howie said, what's the kid supposed to say about an ongoing investigation? I mean, really? What do you expect? Especially when we don't know what the full details are. Speaking of misinformation, the Dallas Cowboys selected Nolan Smith last night, or at least according to Dov Kleiman, the Cowboys did for a second. Now, Dov also came back and said he moved too quickly and he wrote the wrong Smith.
You ain't first, you're last.
What Dov meant to write out was Mozzie Smith, as Dallas took the defensive tackle from Michigan, but leave it to Cowboys fans to try and spin it, saying Mozzie Smith will be a better defensive tackle than Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter. It's interesting to note, though, that this same fan said this a month ago. "I love Mozzie Smith, but I wouldn't draft him at 26. He's good, but interior D linemen don't affect the game enough for me to use a first on a guy who isn't a sure thing. This time last year, Jordan Davis was the hot name, LOL, and to me, he really wasn't a factor this year. So what changed?" And then the Eagles picked Nolan Smith, more on that in a second, but YouTuber Cowboys Fan Talk tweeted, "They took Nolan because they think he Micah and he not, LOL. He a good player, but y'all gotta relax." But once again, if we take a trip back in time, this is the same guy who said this about Nolan Smith. "I would love Nolan Smith, and Nolan Smith different."
Hypocrisy knows no bounds.
Even Micah Parsons knows how ridiculous Nolan Smith's ceiling is.
I mean, I love Nolan. Like, I've recruited Nolan to Penn State. Like, I was his host. Like, Nolan's my guy. His ceiling is high. I think for where he's gone, like, you see that production, like what we're talking about, for where he's gone, this is a great pick. And production-wise, it definitely, I think he has a chance to fly through the roof.
Right.
Being in a system where it's going to be more towards him, a 5-man front with Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, and Hassan, and Josh, and Fletcher Cox.
I mean, they just got Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham 2.0, right? Like, they just reloaded there.
Yeah, I mean,
My Lord.
I mean, their future is set.
Everyone was shocked that Philly could walk away with these 2 picks, including Daniel Jeremiah, who was dumbfounded at the fact that the Eagles are leaving this first round with both Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith. No one could have envisioned this, as Ari Marov said. He saw many mock drafts, including his own, with Nolan Smith to Philadelphia at number 10. But they got him at number 30 after getting Jalen Carter earlier. Green socks for the win. Nolan Smith definitely let it be known who he hoped he'd be going to by wearing green socks on draft night and hosting a watch party with his former and now current teammate Nakobe Dean. And the behind-the-scenes call was electric.
Howie Roseman from the Eagles. How you doing, brother?
Hey, how you doing, man?
You know, I'm a Florida Gator. Do you know how much this hurts my soul to take all these Georgia Bulldogs? You know?
Hell yeah, you want to win, though.
I do want to win. I do want to win, my man. You're right. I do want to win more than you know. I like that confetti. Hey, congratulations, man. You're coming to Philly. I'm sorry you waited so long, but it's going to be worth it for you. Hold on. I got to put Coach Sirianni on the phone. Hold on a second, Nolan.
Hey, Coach, man, I appreciate it.
Let's get to work. A good response to Howie about the Gators there. Awesome.
Yeah, he want to win, man. Coach, I promise you, I ain't no soft player. I got you.
I know that. We're excited about you. And get to go with a lot of your guys that you played defense with and won a lot of games with. Let's go. Go be with your family, all right? I'm going to give Mr. Laurie the phone, our owner, Mr. Laurie the phone, and then go be with the family, okay? I'll call you later. Oh, are they getting the EAGLES Eagles going? That's what I'm talking about.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Nolan, congrats, man. You know, Nakobe, Jordan, Jalen, and yourself. Man. It's crazy.
Hey, Coach, I'm ready. We about to have fun, man. We're gonna make this work, y'all.
We're used to working hard, and we win big. I think you know that.
It's just unreal at this point. And after being drafted, Jalen's former Georgia teammate and now current one also spoke out about his brother's character.
I always stood up for him just because that's not him. I know Jalen. I know JC. I call him JC. I don't even call him Jalen. I call him JC88. And JC just one of those guys that you could really count on. And to not only do his job, but he going to do his job plus more and then come dap you up and get everybody hyped up. And that's just the type of player he is. And he's one of the best guys to hang around, to be around. And I think, I can't wait for him to take me to dinner.
I love to hear that. And I think this is the perfect situation for Jalen to be in. You surround him with several Georgia players that he's very familiar with. There's so many dogs at this point that the Eagles probably should update their logo. As Adam Schefter said, Georgia has become the Eagles' unofficial training ground. What a night for Philadelphia. I couldn't have pictured or scripted a better first round. And NFL Network's James Palmer said, neither could Howie Roseman, even though he's relentless. The Eagles went over every possible scenario. Not a single one had them landing Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith. They're shocked. I think we're all shocked at this point. Can you imagine the productivity of this starting D-line? Darius Slay knows how dangerous it is, as he tweeted, the D-line going to be crazy. Y'all know what that means. It means he knows he's about to get a lot of chances at turnovers. Just look at the top 8 guys right now. Hassan Reddick, Jalen Carter, Fletcher Cox, Josh Sweat, Brandon Graham, Jordan Davis, Nolan Smith, Milton Williams. Good luck blocking that defensive front. Howie was hooping on night 1, but that didn't stop after the Eagles took Alabama guard Tyler Steen at number 65 on night 2. Now, I know you may be asking, I thought we had the 62nd pick, and we did, but the Birds traded it to the Texans for 65, 188, and 230, so not a bad haul, but let's take a further look at the player they got. Steen has experience playing at both right tackle and left tackle, but the team officially announced him as a guard, so he has some versatility. Also, pretty cool that the team got a Jeff Stoutland prospect with so much athleticism. I mean, take a look at the chart. According to the relative athletic score, Tyler Steen scored a 9.94 out of a possible 10, which ranked 9th out of 1,423 offensive guards from 1987 to 2023. And Brandon Lee Gouton of Bleeding Green Nation argues that Steen could potentially compete with Cam Jurgens for the starting job at right guard. Steen could also serve as a swing tackle, with Andre Dillard leaving to join the Tennessee Titans. Steen is hardly considered to be a finished project. The Eagles will be leaning on highly regarded run game coordinator and offensive line coach Jeff Stoutland to get the best out of their new blocker in the NFL. But Steen does have the toughness and the grit that Stoutland looks for, and he began his career, if you didn't know, he began it as a defensive tackle at Vanderbilt before obviously ultimately ending up as left tackle at Alabama. So really cool background, and I cannot wait to see what Stout can do with him, because we've seen it before. I'm really excited there. Plus, as Brandon alluded to earlier, I'm still kind of questioning if Cam Jurgens is the guy. Either way, depth is great, and I think this is a fantastic pick. Now, the other pick right after that was drafting Sidney Brown out of Illinois, and he's a guy that I also really like. He's 23 years old, a lot of versatility. He fits in a bunch of different alignments within the Sean Desai system, and he had 6 interceptions last season and also graded as the 3rd highest coverage and run-stopping rate safety in college football. And Brandon Lee Gouton agrees, saying Brown comes with a chance to compete for a role on defense. In addition to playing on special teams, Philly lost both their 2022 starting safeties, C.J. Gardner-Johnson and Marcus Epps, in free agency. And they didn't exactly replace them with any surefire options. They did sign veterans Terrell Edmonds and Justin Evans to one-year deals. The Eagles also still have Reed Blankenship, who could potentially start, Kayvon Wallace and Andre Shashir on the roster. Again, it's more depth, and hopefully the competition allows the cream to rise to the top. But what do you guys think? What do you guys think of the day 2 picks? Do you like them? Do you hate them? Kind of in the middle. I'm pumped, and I cannot wait for the regular season to get here. Special shout out to all of you who joined us during the live stream. That was a really great time. Had an incredible experience. And a shout out to the jersey contest winners, Tyler Wallace, Andrea Ford, and Vanny. We'll be sure to get you the jerseys ASAP, and perhaps maybe you want a Howie Roseman jersey after the way things turned out in the draft. Let's see who else the mastermind can add to the roster. This has been the Philly Special.